Zia Chapter 1. After one of the big storms that came in from the islands, our shore is covered with small clams. The clams are no larger than the end of your finger, and the wind spread them out on the beach, so thick it's hard to walk. The clams are blue, and when you look either way, up or down the beach, all you can see for leagues are these tiny blue clams. That's why we call it the Blue Beach. The great storms always come in the winter, but this one came in June, and the beach was covered with clams up to your ankles. Usually we raked them up, my brother and I, into baskets, and took them back to the mission. There we washed them and cooked them in a little fresh water. They made wonderful soup, these little blue clams, and we would make a whole meal out of a bowl of soup and a handful of tortillas. On this morning, after the storm had raged all night, we went to the beach early to gather clams, but the storms had washed up so much that we forgot the clams for a while and went running along the beach searching for other things. We had a plan, and we never changed it. We called it Que busco primero, yo mantengo. For instance, if Mando found something first that he wanted, he would keep it. And if I found something first that I wanted, I would do the same. But if Mando found a jar with syrup in it, and I found a fishing line and a hook, then we would make a swap. If we saw something at the same time, and we both shouted mine, then we would draw sticks, and the one who got the longer sticks won. We had very strict rules, but sometimes we quarreled over things we both wanted. Then we wouldn't speak to each other for a day. On this morning, as we waded through the clams and picked up many things, a clock, a part of a sail, and a carpenter's plane, I saw something gray drifting at the edge of the surf. Mine, I shouted and ran toward it. Mando ran too, shouting, mine, mine. It was a boat that one of the big ships had lost, and it had floated ashore. We reached the boat at the same time. Mando was still shouting, mine, mine. He was so excited he just stood there looking at the boat and shouting. I calmly walked over and put my hand on the bow. I saw it first, and it's mine. That's the rule, Mando. There were tears in his eyes. But I will make you captain. I'll be the owner, and you'll be the captain who steers it, I said. This seemed to satisfy him. He rubbed his eyes and tried to smile. There was a name on the stern of the boat. It was printed in English, and all I could read was the word Boston, then a B, and then a blank space where the paint had peeled away, and the letter Y, 2 words. The boat turned up at both ends and was 6 strides long and about 2 strides wide. There were 3 places to sit, places for our 4 oars, but there was only 1 oar left, and a harpoon. It was a very stout boat, and once it had been painted black. What can we do with it? I asked Mando, who was still trying to master his disappointment. What do you say, Captain? Mando walked around the boat and picked up the oar and put it back. We can't take it to the mission. Someone would steal it the first night. If we put our name on it, I asked, and pulled it up the beach and turned it upside down? Even if we took it into the chapel, they would steal it, Mando said. He scratched his nose, which always helped him to think. I waited, having no thoughts of my own. I tell you what, he said at last, walking around the boat again. We'll hide it. But where? You know San Felipe Lagoon? We'll hide it there. But how do we get the boat into the lagoon? I said. We float it and walk and push at the same time. He grabbed hold of the stern, and we do it now. Now. In another hour, everyone will be shouting and running down here. We floated the long boat with the first big wave, and step by step, my brother pushing against the stern and me guiding it from the bow, we came to the mouth of San Felipe Lagoon. The tide was beginning to ebb, but we steered into the lagoon. We had enough water under us to shove the boat ashore. No one ever came here because close by, at the far end of the lagoon, was a haunted cave. Bats flew out of it at dusk, and dawn they flew back. Some said it was a home of a large snake. There were many bad tales about it. Everyone was afraid of the lagoon and the cave. Mando was too, but he pretended that he wasn't. Nevertheless, we covered the boat with brush and seaweed, just to be sure that no one would see it. Then we gathered our trophies along the beach, acting as though nothing had happened, and went back to the mission, high above the beach on a hill.